Hello everybody, we are back for day 2 of linear inequalities. First up, just a quick review from yesterday's lesson, or 2 days ago, I suppose. Today we're doing more or less the same, but I want to quick touch on this review real quick before we move along. So first of all, a linear inequality is in the form y mx plus b. Now you probably notice, hey, why didn't you put a sign in there? I'm used to putting an equal sign here in there, yes, but if it was an equal sign, it would be a linear equality. We have a linear inequality. So we have 4 potential signs that could go in that yellow highlighted slot. The first one is a less than sign. Remember, a less than sign, if y is isolated on the right, we shade below the line. And it is a dotted or dashed line. Okay, a greater than sign is the exact same thing, but everything is flipped. So my inequality faces the opposite way. If it's greater than, if someone's greater than you, you shade above the line. And again, that's only if y is isolated on the left-hand side, like it is right here. Okay, and just like less than, greater than is a dotted or dashed line, whichever you prefer to say. Okay, a less than or equal to sign. A less than or equal to sign is just like a less than sign, but with a line underneath. Excuse me. And again, a less than sign or less than or equal to, you're going to shade below the line as long as the y is isolated on the left-hand side. The only difference between a less than and a less than or equal to is we use a solid line to graph. A few of you forgot to solid or dash your lines in your homework you submitted. Okay, a greater than or equal to sign is the exact same as greater than with a line underneath. And again, as long as y is isolated on the left-hand side, we shade above when it's a greater than sign. And if it's or equal to, it is a solid line. Now, one thing to keep in mind, in order to graph a line, we always need to get, y alone on the left-hand side, like we've been talking about. Okay, next up, we are in red with triple stars and an alarm bell. Okay, whenever we multiply or divide by a negative number, some of you have that bell going off in your head again, we must flip the inequality sign, flip the sign. So whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, we must flip the inequality sign. Okay, one of our examples we'll go through will have that number that we have to, have the negative number that we have to flip. Okay, so we only have 2 examples today, and it's more or less the same as yesterday, but now instead of being in slope-intercept form, instead of it being in y mx plus b form, now we got to get y by itself. So in number 1, what we need to do is to get y by itself, we got to get rid of the 2x right here. So how do you get rid of a 2x up front? Minus 2x to the left, minus 2x to the right. These cancel. We get y is less than, again, I'm going to put this in front so that it's in y equals mx plus b form, or y is less than mx plus b form in this case. So y is less than negative 2x. That's a positive 4, so I write plus 4. Okay, now we got to figure out, hey, where do we start? Well, again, y mx plus b. B tells us that we're going to start up 4 on the y-axis. So I'm going to start 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to start right there. My m value, my slope, is negative 2. That means I'm going to end up going down the hill. So I'm going to go down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Okay, now, this is a less than sign. This is a less than sign. So whenever we have a less than sign, remember, it's going to be a dotted or a dashed line, and we are going to shade below if y is isolated on the left-hand side. Well, if we look right here, y is isolated on the left-hand side, so I'm going to make a dotted line. I'm going to make a dotted line. And since it's less than and y is isolated on the left-hand side, I'm going to shade everything below my line. Below is this way, so I will shade all of this. And I'm finished. So again, this is more or less the same as yesterday, but now instead of having it already in y equals mx plus b form, we need to manipulate the equation and put it into that form. Okay, next up we have numero dos, number 2. And again, our job is to get y by itself. So the first step in getting y by itself is we gotta get rid of that 3x. So what am I gonna do? Minus 3x and minus 3x, sorry about that. Okay, these bad boys cancel. I'm left with negative 4y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 8. Now the next step is to divide a y by itself, so I get rid of that negative 4 up front. So I'm going to divide by negative 4, and oh boy, there's the alarm bell. Remember, we are dividing by a negative number. Whenever we divide by a negative, what's going to happen? Again, I'm dividing by a negative, so that tells me this sign is going to flip. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 4, though. Divide by negative 4. Okay, these cancel. Now I have y, and again, I need to flip the sign. It flips because I divided by a negative 4. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, your sign flips. Okay, now, I'm going to write this. If I have a negative 3 divided by negative 4, well, a negative divided by a negative, that's going to give me a positive 3 over 4. And now we have it written like this, but remember, we want it in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm just going to push this x off the edge down here. He's pushed off, and he's just going to hang out right here. That's completely okay. Okay, so now we have y is greater than 3 over 4x. 8 divided by negative 4 should give us negative 2. So again, y equals mx plus b, or y is greater than mx plus b form. The b tells us that we're going to start down 2, so I'm going to start right there. I should probably make that purple. Start down 2. My slope is a positive 3 over 4. So if it's positive, I'm going to go up the hill. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm running out of room. I can't go up 3 and over 4 again. I ran out of room. So from my first point, from this one, I'm going to go up and right. It's the same as going down 3. 1, 2, 3. And left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we have our sign right now is a greater than or equal to. Remember, it flipped. We divided by a negative number. Our sign flipped. So if we go back up to the top, a greater than or equal to is the purple one right here. It's a solid line, and I'm going to shade above my original. Above my original. And why is it above? Because my y is isolated, and if someone is above you, they are greater than you. Y is isolated on the left-hand side. Okay, so my line is a solid line. And again, greater than means I'm going to shade above. So everything above this beast is shaded in. Okay, I hope you liked my corny alarm bells. That's all I got for you today. I will have a short homework assignment